Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So, what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Imperfect Momming, and we have a very special guest today, Jo, Unicorn Coach. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I'm super excited to be here. This is such an important job that you do in helping moms to thrive with your podcast. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. And I want you to tell us who you are and what you do and where Unicorn Coach came from.
Okay. So I am known as the Unicorn Coach. And the reason for that is I believe that we all have magic inside of us, like that magical horn, especially us moms. And because of society, brainwash, and pressure, we forget about that horn and we start behaving like horses, like regular horses. I actually did that for many, many years and forget about my horn until 10, 15 years ago when I remember that horn and remember that I was not a horse, but actually a unicorn. And I'm the unicorn coach because that is my job in life, is going around and helping others and helping women to actually remember that they are not regular horses, that they are unicorns, unical, magical, and that they have magic inside of them to actually achieve everything that they want in life. So that is why I'm the unicorn coach, spreading magic. And remember, I'm completely against the media movement of you have to be fixed or there is something wrong with you, so you need to get the next program, you need to get the next thing, when in reality is about us tapping inside our own magic and our own power. I am an engineer by background. That is the other reason why I'm a unicorn, because I have a very unique balance between my left and my right brains and hemispheres. Because by background, I'm an engineer, work in Fortune 100 companies for over 15 years. I travel around the world with them, with Goodyear, PepsiCo, Mind Valley. And from there, decide to seeing very clear and very close when I was traveling the world on working moms and seeing how there was a big gap and seeing how we were struggling not only here but around the world, trying to play a game that was not designed for us. So in 2019, I decided to leave corporate America and their bureaucracy and start making impact where I think that the impact will create the biggest ripple effect, and that is working with women, working with moms, to create that life. One of the things that I always say is you can have it all without doing it all. It's about empowering us into actually claiming our own power, and that we need to stop compromising our lives and start actually working in the life that we want to live that is different for each of us.
Yeah. Oh, you said so many things that that I resonate with, and I love the premise and the idea of that we are all magical and unicorns, and yeah, we've forgotten, or we were never allowed to feel like a unicorn. Yeah, no, I love that so much. So your yeah, you went from architecture to coaching. Is that what I'm hearing? Oh, you're on mute.
I went from engineering to coaching. So I went from working in the manufacturing floor, having been in charge of over 1,600 people in the manufacturing world, either making tires for Goodyear or making soda and waters and Gatorade for PepsiCo, into actually coaching. So yeah, there was a big change.
Yeah. So what would you say, to a mom that comes to you and she's feeling like a horse. I hear
So
baby.
yes, is the reality of being a working mom. I don't have the nanny and he's sick, so
Mhm.
preschool will not take him either. So
Yeah.
I'm doing the full thing today. So the first thing is that we don't realize that we are feeling like a horse. So when a mom come to me, it's not because they feel like they're a horse, but because they are not feeling good, feeling like a horse. So
Mm,
one of the first things that I told them is tap into what else will you want. Like if there is that discomfort into I don't feel like this is enough. Like it's almost that question that we are being taught as the good girl to not answer because we need to be grateful into, is this it?
mm,
And then immediately they're like, no, 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 you need to be grateful. You are in the 16% of the population. If you make more than this income, you are in more than this population. If you have a marriage. But the first thing is allow that little girl inside to really be honest into what is missing
mm,
and dream. One of my big premises is whatever you desire and dream, I believe you can call it universe, God, whatever. I believe in God. So I believe in a universe, in God that is benevolent. And with that premise, I believe that we will not have a desire that a future version of us was not already living.
mm,
So it's about us being honest in that and say, oh, I miss. Usually, when we are tired to be a horse, or we're starting to say, "Oh, has to be something else," is because a desire inside of us is starting to flame a little bigger into, "Oh, I want more freedom, or I want more joy, or I want more pleasure, or I want more time with my kids, or I want to feel better in my body." So the first thing that I told them is be unapologetically about what you want, what having it all means to you. Because that is something that, like you said before, sometimes nobody told us that we were unicorns. For a lot of us females, I will say even more than 95% of us, nobody told us that was okay to dream big
mm,
and to be bold. And that is something that I'm really trying to work with my kids, because you see it even when they are little. Like if it's a little boy, it's like dream big, be bold, be adventurous, push, try. And if you don't try, you did it anyway. For the girls, it's like be calm, be quiet, stay still, be pretty. So even from an early age, we were not even understanding the possibility of what dreaming big and having it all means. Some of us, like in December, I was with my community asking that, and it was so surprising for me, Alicia, that so many of them were not even able to articulate what having it all for them was. They immediately start asking for things for other people, even world peace. And I was like, so that means that you have everything that you want in your life. And they were like, well, no. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want? What having it all means to you? And I think that that is the first question that we need to start normalizing, that wanting more is not because we are ungrateful. It's not that we need to look at the people in Africa and the kids that are eating every 4 days, or the woman that are raising 6 kids below the poverty. That is a reality. That doesn't mean that I cannot desire more. And I think that the first step is normalizing the discussion of I want to have it all and what having it all means to me, Because the other thing that I think that was a big damage from the patriarchal society is they try to put us all in the same box that is the Hollywood movie of, oh, having it all means this in terms of your relationships, your family, your finances, your health. But that is not true. And that is why we have so much pain, because sometimes we get what the box had, and then we still have that emptiness or that fire that's like, I was supposed to be completely fulfilled and happy because I have it all based on this check, and I don't. So it's about us to embrace that have it all means something different for all of us, and it's start claiming that voice of asking for what we want and being okay saying, I know that I have a lot and I still want more.
I think that in our society, we have a lot of this idea that we can't have, like, two things can't exist at once. And like, we can be grateful and want more at the same time. Like, we can have gratitude for the things that we have and still want something more. And the other thing that you said that kind of brought a thought to my head was, we think we want all these things for others. Somewhere along the lines we got this idea that wanting for ourselves is selfish and that selfish is bad. So I come from a premise of selfish isn't bad. We we can't, like, I can't be poor enough to help someone else be rich. Like, that's not, that doesn't happen. I can't be sick enough to make somebody else healthy. So I have to give from a full plate, not from, the an empty plate. Like, that is this theme that we all seem to have picked up on, that just isn't, it isn't in alignment. And then you said dream big right as I looked at my cup, which also says dream big on it. And I, I was like, oh, the synchronicity of the timing.
Absolutely. And what you're saying is so, so, so true. Because the first one is the concept of we are selfish. And then that love, because us females, moms, and even the ones that decide to be a mom to a pet or anything else, we have the maternal instinct. And then that is being manipulated into that love means selfless love. So, for example, you will not believe how many times I actually drive me crazy. My mother-in-law is here with us cooking, and everybody's in the table and she's just still in the kitchen, and she's like, oh, everybody eat and I will eat later and I will eat cold. And I'm like, no, come and eat with us, everything else can wait. It's that concept that that selflessness is how we prove love. So I actually, with my clients, stop talking about selfish because it had such a baggage emotionally, and say, like, you're not being selfish, you're being self-full. Self-full, you are allowing yourself to be full. The other one with the cup that I fight a lot is the patriarchal BS of, oh, you need to fill your cup so you can give to others. What the heck?
Just fill your cup because you need to have your cup full.
Exactly. I don't fill in my cup because I need to give to others. I fill my cup because I'm such a beautiful, magical unicorn that I deserve a freaking full cup all the time.
Yeah.
And then when the cup is full, then I give to others the overflowing.
Right. So I like, if I I love that your kids are joining us, because I think I don't, I know there's a baby and I think I saw a toddler walk by, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh, is it?
You
Hi.
want to say hi? You say that you are sicky and you are trying to be good. Yeah,
No.
it's okay. It's fixed now. You can come without screaming and say, Mommy, help. And Mommy will always help.
Beautiful curly blonde hair. Yeah, it's, we deserve to have full cups. And had I known that you were the unicorn coach, I would have had my unicorn cup, because I actually have a unicorn mug, which you have your unicorn mug, and that's what made me think of it. I was like, oh, I actually have one of those. I don't drink out of it very much because the ceramic holds heat, and so it is actually painful sometimes to hold it. But we have this idea, and one way that I try to reach moms is by by talking to them that if you're not going to do it for yourself, then do it for your kids. Because it does turn into down the line that you start doing it for yourself, but sometimes we have to find this workaround for some of these beliefs that are out there. Um, but like the podcast name is Better Parenting Through Self-Healing. Like, we've got to heal ourselves, because I literally, the very first parenting book that I ever read was, my son was 6. And a friend of mine says that you don't pick the book, the book picks you. Um, and the book that found me was a personal development book disguised as a parenting book. But I was reading it for the parenting aspect, and then it was really introspective. And I love that about the book. Um, but I didn't take any parenting courses or anything. But I as I was hitting these roadblocks in my parenting, because I don't know if you noticed, but when you birth a child, then all of your childhood stuff comes up. And I as I started to hit some of these milestones and some of these roadblocks, I was realizing, that I was behaving in ways that I didn't really like. Um, and I wasn't self-healing for my parenting journey to be a better parent, but that's what ended up happening. And and so sometimes there's so much noise about you can't do it for you because that's selfish. There's so much selfishness is bad noise that we gotta do a little workaround for, like, don't do it for you, do it for your kids. Or if you can't, but I like to say, if you can't do it for you in this moment, like, do it for your kids, because I know eventually it'll get to that, like, you are important too, but sometimes we just don't,
Mm.
we can't see that.
And I love that because I agree. We need to find moms where they are. And the reality is, it's a good way to understand that our kids are learning not what we say, but what we do.
Right.
So, female girls and boys, we can love them. And that is one of the things that make a conversation with some of my moms. I was talking actually with one of them on terms of she taking care of her health, and she was having a lot of health issues. And then I mirror back and say, okay, why is your daughter learning from this? And what is the future that is expecting, that is waiting for her in 15 years, in 20 years? So are they going to have the same emotional eating or eating disorders, or they're going to be people pleaser, or like in the example of my mother-in-law, are they going to learn that the only way to show love is to be last? And then when like you were saying, when you allow them to actually think the impact that they are thinking that they are doing this thing for them, but actually what they are doing is teaching them to behave the same way, and you are like, I don't want my kid to do that. I don't want my kid to be a people pleaser. I don't want my daughter to absorb abuse. I don't want. Then we're like, then it's not what you tell them, it's how you act. And it starts, like you were saying, with you starting doing these things for you and saying, hey, this is my time, and this is how, these are the boundaries, and this is the self-care. One of the things that I tell all the moms is, if you could even start with something as simple in your brain to stop the stop repeating the concept of fill your cup so you can give to others, and then start embracing fill your cup because you deserve to have a filled cup.
Yeah.
It is starting in that path of, because I agree with you. I think that that makes, especially for moms that like me that are breaking generational patterns, motherhood is so challenging because you are not parenting only your children, you are reparenting yourself. You
Yes.
are your children are triggering things in you, that is the work, is saying, oh, this is coming up, from where I need to heal, where I need to grow, where I need to improve, so that as I repairing myself, I can be a better parent for my child.
Yeah. Yeah, my coach wrote a book for fathers of daughters to help them parent in a way that helps their daughter's self-esteem, because a lot of times women get their if not all the time, women get their self-esteem from the value that they see themselves through their fathers. And when he was creating the book, he did a webinar, because he's more of an auditory teacher than a writer. Like sitting down and writing was hard for him. And so anyway, I watched this webinar, and he had this concept of telling the fathers to write down all of the traits that you want to find in the man that your daughter marries, and then become that man and become those traits. And he also said that sons become more like their fathers, and daughters want to marry their fathers, right? So, and then the opposite is true for moms and sons, and moms and daughters. And that concept scared the snot out of me at the time, because I had left my son's dad. And so for all the reasons that I left him, I didn't want my son to become him. And I didn't like I who I was behaving and who I was being at that time. So I didn't want my son to have someone like me as a wife. And so I did that exercise where I wrote down the traits that I wanted for my son to have in his marriage, in his future marriage. And then I started to become that person. And that was really the inception of where I started working on myself to become that better person. And I keep coming back to the unicorn thing, but like I have been like saying I'm magical recently. Because I think like we really are, we're powerful manifestors. And if manifesting something from nothing isn't magic, then I don't know what is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love what you're saying because it's so true. And I love the concept of the parent, dads with daughters and moms with boys. Because like it's like that is, if your daughter is growing up, for you as a mom, seeing that you are the one that is always making dinner, that you are the one that is always running to have everything gone, that dad come in the evening and check out into watching TV, doesn't matter how much you want her to have a different marriage, she's going to recreate that because that is what she grew up with. And that is also fault for us as moms with boys, is if you are allowing your boy to not do anything at home, like my kids vacuum, clean, do the washes, do laundry. Why? Because I'm expecting them to do that with their wives. I'm expecting them to carry the load. But if I'm like, oh, no, 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 it's okay, I will do it for you, my baby, then he's not going to be able to, they're not going to be able to move through that and be those partners in the future. So I love that exercise of saying, okay, what kind of partner I want my kid to be and to be with, and are we modeling? Because going back into what I said before, the biggest, like, if you see the pyramid of how we learn, what we hear is like less than 3% of how we learn. And then I start going into what we see at home, okay, what we do, how we do it for others. So that is the real work into how we are modeling at home with our own healing and our own journey. What do we want? How empowering is for our kids to see a mom that is not only willing to hashtag dream big, but is also strong enough to say, and I don't have to do it all. I don't have to burn myself to the ground and have burned out, but I am dreaming big. We want more for this family and we are building it together. And this is how we are going to delegate. And this is how we are all going to work for the same vision.
Yeah.
For skills, even for them to negotiate when they are in their jobs, for them to be in university. I mean, the skills go on and on and on from those foundations of what our journey healing, as you said, and how that ripple effect into them.
Yeah, we're my favorite phrase is they're watching the show, not listening to the lecture, because and you broke it down so beautifully, like, because they only learn 3% from what we're saying. And one of the things that I started with my son, because he does really not like to do anything that isn't like what he wants to do, um, is like we add on one more chore per year older that he gets. And so I started off last year with, we're gonna cook one night a week together. Because I'm not like, I don't love cooking. It's not my favorite thing, but I want him to know how to make food for himself, because he's not always going to have, like, I don't want him going through drive-through all the time, and he's not always going to have somebody to cook for him. And
And there will be times that is nice that he cooked for the other person too.
Absolutely. And so he's 11 now, he's going to turn 12 next month. And so next month he's going to start helping 2 nights a week. And I said, that's going to continue until you're 13, because I think that if you can cook for yourself 3 nights a week, then you have enough to last through the whole week. Like, there's leftovers and going out to eat maybe once a week, but and he enjoys it because he's actually doing something with me. He really does like to cook. And the other stuff, like the laundry, not so much. But it's like, this year I fold your laundry and you put it away. Next year you're going to fold your laundry. And I learned, you can learn too.
And I think that is important to know that, and this is part of one of my big things on being a good girl and the perfectionist as a mom, and that is, what is the end result? What we want is creating those habits. So instead of being the mom that, for example, making your bed, instead of being and going and say, you didn't do your bed right, and it has to be like this. What is the end result? That a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old can do perfect the bed? No, is that they start learning that making the bed is important first thing in the morning. So it's also about going back full circle into healing, is how we are able to let go, how we are able to release, how we are able to say, hey, you know what? I praise your effort and I will not do the bed like that, but you did it and that's fine. It's done. I will not fold the laundry like that, but you fold it and it's done. To also empower them. And this is true for us moms. And I'm going to get into the touchy point for our children and also for our partners. Because this is another thing that I always say, I always hear with moms saying, oh, but nobody helped me.
Or
I'm the
nobody does
only
it as
one.
good as nobody does it like I do, so I have to do everything.
Yeah, but then they start with the, nobody helped me in this house. I do everything. And then when you start going and deconstructing, okay, last time that your partner did the dishes, you complained for 30 minutes because he did it wrong. And then you did them again. And last time that your son or your daughter vacuum, you scream to them because they didn't did it right, and then you did it again. So is that part of, like you were saying at the end, is, oh, nobody helped me. Oh, it's because nobody do it to my standard, nobody do it as good as me, so then I'm have to do it alone. And then we are in that circle of sabotaging, that because of that is the excuse that we don't have time for ourselves, because of that is the excuse that we cannot fill our cup, when it's about us to learning. One of my things from corporate America in leadership, in when we were changing cultures, was a phrase that says, learn to go from the front of the room to the back of the room without leaving the room. So it's about you to start learning to feel comfortable with not do it exactly like you want or like you were expecting, but again, anchor into what is the final result.
Mm.
If it's vacuum and it's not 100% vacuum, but it's 70% vacuum, it's better than none.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a piece of advice that you want to share with moms? Like, everything that we've talked about so far is amazing. And is there anything else you want to share?
I will encourage, and this has been big for me this year. It's actually my word for the year. And that is dropping the good girl syndrome. I actually have a hashtag, drop the good girl syndrome, and allow things to be easy for you.
Mm.
The BS of no pain, no gain, the BS of being the good girl means struggle and hustle, is just a lie that they are telling us to keep us in control and small. Embrace that it can be easy, embrace that it can flow, embrace that
It could be
you can
fun.
do it, that it could be fun, and that you don't have to compromise, that you could dream big, and that you, if you have that desire inside of you, you deserve to have that life. If you didn't deserve to have that life, you will not have that desire for whatever you are aiming or you are dreaming about.
I love that. That's really, really powerful. Is there a book that that's been instrumental in your personal development journey?
Oh, I'm a book geek. For moms, a must is Drop the Ball from Tiffany Duffy. And he's talking Drop
Drop
the
the
Ball.
ball.
Mhm, from Tiffany Duffy, and it's talking about that, on how to get over of nobody can do it as good as me.
Mm.
I actually also love Rachel Rogers, We All Should Be Millionaires, focus on
Mm.
how female financial freedom will impact the world. And I think that I am a big, big fan of Louise Hay. So all the books from Louise Hay into self-worth, inner child, that part of that healing, that as we do that part, that ripple effect and cascade into our parenting journey as well. So I think that those will be the three that right now I will say, consider to include them this year in your Audible list, because that is the other reality. I don't read paper books anymore. Audible, so I can listen to them and finding ways to make it easy.
Yeah. And I'm going to give a shameless plug to the library system and the library app. It's called Libby, Libby. This is not a paid endorsement by any means, but I downloaded like I've been wanting to read a lot of like celebrity bios, but I don't want to buy them because I know I'm fairly certain I'm only going to listen to it once. And but I've like really wanted to listen to Matthew McConaughey's autobiography, or his book Greenlight, because he reads it and I love his voice. And I knew that it was very like personal developy, um and or yeah, it's a very entertaining book. I was listening to it before we jumped on our call. It's a very entertaining book so far. Like he's made me laugh so many, like there's been so many times my fiance and I, we both work from home, and I'm downstairs, he's upstairs, and there's been 10 times in like 20 minutes that I wanted to run upstairs to tell him this funny thing, but from that book. But thank you for those book recommendations, and you reminded me that I did want to read Everyone Should Be a Millionaire. So but you can download Audible books and Kindle books from the Libby app for free. And I'm like, well, why does anybody buy books ever anymore? Which is sad because I'm an author, but it's still, why does anybody buy any books? Just go to the library.
Yes.
Where can our listeners find you?
Joe Unicorn Coach all over my page. My website is Joe Unicorn Coach, and in social media, I handle my own social media. So if they go to Instagram, Facebook, Joe Unicorn Coach, and if they are into motherhood, I hope to have you there. I also have a TV show of winning the marathon of motherhood without burnout. So I think that it's about us to stop trying to win the masculine game and start relying in each other in what we are doing as females and finding a different way. It doesn't have to be hard. It is hard because we are trying to fit into a place that was not designed for us. And I think that it's time for us to just stop trying that and then start going. So, Unicorn Coach, I am here to help you, to support you. If there is anything that Alicia and I talk and you want to discuss, or you didn't agree, or whatever it is, send me a message on social media and I would love to chat with you.
Yeah, no, the thing that you just said that stood out to me was stop trying to fit into, I think you said, the masculine role. And I'm sure we could have a whole podcast on this, but like there's so much where that's what we're doing. And yeah, and I'm just going to end it there, or we will talk for another 45 minutes. Thank you again so much for having me on the podcast. Okay, so rewind and start again. Thank you for being on my podcast.
You are already manifesting when we are in my show, and you are thanking me for having you in mine. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for everything that you are doing. And I had a lot of fun. Hope that your audience find helpful tips and put for the thought into questioning about what they want to do in 2024.
Amazing. Thank you again. And there will be another podcast episode for you all next week. And until we meet again, keep healing. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AliciaLyons.com. That's ALYSIALYONS.com. See you next time.